This video takes a captivating journey through hypothetical realities derived from both historical events and fictional narratives. We explore what-ifs that range from significant moments in human history, such as the Cuban Missile Crisis and the Library of Alexandria never burning, to the exhilarating speculation of coexisting with superheroes like Superman or navigating through Tolkien's Middle-earth. Join us as we traverse these intriguing scenarios, shedding light on how each could have altered the world as we know it. Number 1. Had Alexander the Great reached the ends of the earth? In the annals of history, few figures command the intrigue and reverence accorded to Alexander III of Macedon, more famously known as Alexander the Great. Born into a royal family in Pella, Macedon in 356 BC, his ambition and extraordinary military strategy led him to create one of the largest empires in the world by the time of his death in 323 BC, stretching from Greece to Egypt and far east to India. However, one tantalizing question looms large. What if Alexander had not died at the age of 32 and had achieved his unfulfilled ambition of reaching the ends of the earth? Considering Alexander's well-documented ambition and his propensity for successful military campaigns, it's plausible to think he could have extended his empire even further. Potential targets could have been the lands to the east of India, such as the kingdoms of Southeast Asia and even the advanced civilizations in China. In the west, he might have turned his attention towards the burgeoning city-states of Italy, including Rome, which was not yet the dominant power it would later become. Consequently, the cultural, political, and societal landscape of the globe might have dramatically shifted. With his practice of incorporating and respecting local customs of conquered lands, Alexander might have facilitated an unprecedented exchange of ideas, philosophies, and technologies across continents. The Greek language and Hellenistic culture could have become the common thread weaving through disparate civilizations, promoting a level of global cohesion unparalleled in the ancient world. Alexander's dream of reaching the ends of the earth, although unfulfilled, sparks our imagination and invites us to ponder a vastly different world, one where East met West far earlier and under the banner of a single expansive empire. What kind of cultural amalgamation might have arisen from this world is an enticing food for thought. Number 2. Imagine the Library of Alexandria never burning. The Great Library of Alexandria in Egypt is often mourned as one of the most significant losses in the history of knowledge and culture. Its destruction is considered a pivotal event that marked the end of the ancient world's intellectual dominance. But what if the Library of Alexandria had never burned? How would the course of knowledge, science, and culture be different today? Established in the 3rd century BC during Ptolemy II Philadelphus's reign, the Library of Alexandria aimed to house a copy of every book in the world. It was a hub of scholarly activity, drawing philosophers, mathematicians, astronomers, and other intellectuals from around the ancient world. It's estimated to have housed at least 500,000 scrolls, equivalent to tens of thousands of modern books, with works ranging from literature to mathematics, from philosophy to physics. Had the library survived, the implications for the world's academic and cultural development would have been profound. Many of the works lost in the fire are known only through references in other texts. Their original content is lost forever. Complete versions of plays by Sophocles, Euripides, and Aeschylus, philosophical works by Aristotle and Plato, scientific observations, and historical documents. Imagine a world where these were accessible. The preservation of ancient knowledge could have accelerated advancements in various fields. For example, the loss of Aristarchus of Samos's work, who proposed a heliocentric model of the solar system in the 3rd century BC, likely delayed the acceptance of this theory until Copernicus's time in the 16th century. Furthermore, the library was not only a storehouse of texts, but a research institution as well. Continuing discoveries, innovations, and discourse could have kept the ancient world at the forefront of scientific and philosophical thinking for much longer, perhaps shortening what we call the Dark Ages. An unburned Library of Alexandria conjures a world of tantalizing intellectual possibilities, a world where ancient wisdom might have flowed seamlessly into the modern era, fostering a timeline of knowledge that remained unbroken and grew continuously richer. Number 3. The South winning the American Civil War. One of the most transformative periods in American history was the Civil War, fought between 1861 and 1865. This bloody conflict resulted in a Union victory, the abolition of slavery, and a significant shift in the power balance between the federal government and states. But what if the South, or the Confederate States, had won the Civil War? A victorious South would likely mean the survival and potential spread of slavery. A Confederate victory would have confirmed the legality and acceptance of slavery, something that was a point of contention between the North and South. Slavery could have persisted for decades more in America, potentially spreading to newly admitted states and territories. Furthermore, the Confederate Constitution emphasized states' rights over a strong central government. This could have set a precedent for a loose federation of states, leading to a weaker federal government with less unifying power. The United States, as we know it, might have been a much more disjointed entity, possibly with separate currencies, foreign policies, and even armies. In terms of international relations, a Confederate victory could have realigned global politics. European powers, particularly Britain and France, had been observing the Civil War closely. With a Confederate victory, these countries may have sought more active alliances and trade relationships with the Confederacy based on their shared economic interest in cotton. Contemplating a world where the South won the Civil War opens up a complex web of alternative historical trajectories. The endurance of slavery, the decentralization of American government, and changes in international relations all present profound shifts that would have undoubtedly created a vastly different America. Number 4. What if the Black Death never happened? The Black Death, one of the deadliest pandemics in human history, swept across Europe between 1347 and 1351, causing an estimated 200 million deaths. This catastrophic event uprooted social, economic, and cultural structures of the Middle Ages. But what if the Black Death never happened? In the absence of this horrific pandemic, Europe in the late Middle Ages might have evolved quite differently. One of the most immediate impacts of the Black Death was a severe labor shortage. With a significant portion of the population wiped out, surviving laborers could demand better conditions and wages. Without the Black Death, serfdom might have persisted longer, and the rise of the working class could have been delayed. Economically, the plague brought a sudden halt to burgeoning trade networks, stunting economic growth. Without this disruption, Europe's economic development could have progressed more steadily, perhaps leading to an earlier onset of an industrial revolution. The Black Death also affected the Church's influence. The clergy's inability to provide spiritual or physical protection against the plague led to a loss of faith for many, paving the way for the Reformation. Without the plague, the Catholic Church's dominance in Europe may have gone unchallenged for a longer period. Had the Black Death never occurred, we could be looking at a very different trajectory of European history, with potential ramifications on class structures, economic development, and religious authority. Number 5. Could we be speaking Latin if the Roman Empire never fell? At its zenith, the Roman Empire was one of the most powerful entities in the world, its influence stretching from the British Isles to the Near East. Latin, the language of Rome, was the lingua franca of the empire, but with the fall of the Western Roman Empire in AD 476, Latin began its gradual decline. What if the Roman Empire never fell? If Rome had not fallen and maintained its expansive dominion, Latin could potentially have continued to thrive and evolve as a common language. Modern Romance languages like Spanish, French, Italian, Romanian, and Portuguese, which descended from Latin, might not exist in their current form. Instead, they could be dialects or regional variations of a universal Latin language. Moreover, the persistence of a strong central empire could have led to greater political stability and uniformity across Europe. The Middle Ages might not have been characterized by feudal fragmentation, but continued Roman administration. In terms of culture and knowledge, Roman literature, philosophy, and scientific understanding could have permeated more deeply into societies under its sway. The preservation and expansion of Roman law could have shaped legal systems across the globe in more profound ways. However, this scenario also implies a diminished cultural diversity. The rich tapestry of languages, customs, and traditions that we see in Europe today is a product of individual communities developing their unique identities after the fall of Rome. In a world dominated by the eternal Roman Empire, this tapestry might look decidedly more homogeneous. Pondering the existence of a modern world speaking Latin and living under the continued influence of Roman law and culture illustrates the profound impact of the fall of the Roman Empire on our history and diversity. Number 6. A world where Nikola Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower was a success. Nikola Tesla, the genius Serbian-American inventor, dreamt of creating a world with free and wireless transmission of energy. His ambitious project, the Wardenclyffe Tower, was aimed to facilitate this dream, but due to financial problems and a lack of support, the project was abandoned. What if Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower had been a success? Tesla's idea was to transmit electricity wirelessly across large distances using the Earth's own conductivity. If he had succeeded, the world could have seen a revolution in power distribution. This might have meant the end of vast networks of power lines and a significant reduction in energy costs, given that Tesla intended to supply this wireless electricity freely. This free and readily available electricity could have spurred technological advancements, with devices being designed to tap into this ubiquitous power source. Today's world, dependent on batteries and charging ports, could have been significantly different, perhaps with devices perpetually powered and never running out of charge. Moreover, developing countries with less developed power infrastructures could have had an equal footing in the access to electricity, potentially reducing economic disparities and fostering faster global development. Tesla's vision of a wireless power world has the potential to reshape our understanding and interaction with electricity, offering a glimpse into a world of unfettered technological advancement. Number 7. The Titanic, a voyage successfully completed. The RMS Titanic, a symbol of human ambition and technological prowess, met a tragic end on its maiden voyage in 1912. But what if the Titanic had not hit an iceberg and completed its voyage successfully? If the Titanic hadn't sunk, it would likely have been remembered as a remarkable feat of engineering and a symbol of luxury travel. The disaster led to significant changes in maritime safety regulations. Absent this catastrophe, the implementation of these measures might have been delayed, possibly putting more lives at risk in subsequent maritime incidents. Further, the loss of the Titanic led to a public outcry over the class disparities in the ship's evacuation procedures, highlighting the inequities of the Edwardian society. A successful voyage might have glossed over these stark class differences, with the glamour and success of the Titanic reinforcing the status quo. Finally, the Titanic disaster had a profound impact on public consciousness and culture, symbolizing the fallibility of human technological hubris. A successful voyage, in contrast, might have boosted public confidence in technology and progress, potentially accelerating the pace of innovation in the early 20th century. The Titanic's successful journey would have not just altered the fate of its passengers, but could have had wider implications for maritime safety, societal norms, and our relationship with technology. Number 8. If the Manhattan Project had been a failure. The Manhattan Project, initiated during World War II, led to the development of the first atomic bombs, dramatically altering the course of history. But what if the Manhattan Project had been a failure? Without a functional atomic bomb, the U.S. strategy to end World War II might have been quite different. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945 played a crucial role in Japan's decision to surrender, effectively ending the war. Without the atomic bombs, the war could have been prolonged, resulting in more casualties. Further, the development of nuclear weapons heralded the beginning of the nuclear age, which had significant geopolitical implications. If the Manhattan Project had failed, the Cold War dynamic would likely have been different. The arms race between the United States and the Soviet Union, underpinned by the threat of nuclear warfare, shaped much of the second half of the 20th century. A world without this nuclear brinkmanship might have seen a different balance of power and possibly fewer proxy wars. The failure of the Manhattan Project could also have influenced the scientific and energy sectors. The nuclear technology developed for the bomb was later adapted for peaceful uses, like in nuclear power plants. Without this leap in nuclear technology, the growth and prevalence of nuclear power as an energy source could have been impeded. Exploring a world where the Manhattan Project had failed allows us to reflect on the profound and far-reaching effects that this single scientific project has had on global politics, warfare, and energy production. Number 9. Life on Earth if dinosaurs never went extinct. Around 66 million years ago, a catastrophic event, likely a massive asteroid impact, led to the extinction of dinosaurs. But what if this extinction event never happened? What would life on Earth be like if dinosaurs still roamed the globe? First, the survival of dinosaurs could have significantly affected the evolution of mammals. Given that mammals thrived in the ecological niches left vacant by the extinct dinosaurs, it's possible that without the extinction event, mammals, including humans, might not have evolved to be as diverse or dominant as they are today. Dinosaurs continuing their reign could also mean a vastly different ecological balance. For example, large herbivorous dinosaurs could have maintained an environment dominated by certain types of vegetation, affecting the plant diversity we see today. Large carnivorous dinosaurs at the top of the food chain could have restricted the size and spread of other animal groups. Furthermore, the survival of dinosaurs could have led to their own continued evolution. We might have seen even more diverse and specialized species of dinosaurs, potentially even intelligent ones. Speculating on a world where dinosaurs never went extinct provides us with an intriguing look at an Earth dominated by these fascinating creatures, one where humans might never have risen to prominence, and where the ecological and evolutionary pathways could be dramatically different. Number 10. A timeline where the Cuban Missile Crisis escalated. The Cuban Missile Crisis in October 1962 is widely considered the closest the world has come to a full-scale nuclear war. During this tense period, the United States and the Soviet Union engaged in a dangerous standoff over Soviet missile deployment in Cuba. But what if this crisis had escalated? An escalation of the Cuban Missile Crisis could have plunged the world into a devastating nuclear war. Major cities in both the United States and the Soviet Union could have been obliterated, with a death toll numbering in the tens of millions, if not higher. The environmental impact would also have been catastrophic, potentially leading to a nuclear winter, where soot and smoke from the fires block out sunlight, dramatically lowering global temperatures. Furthermore, the geopolitical landscape would have been irrevocably altered. Countries not directly hit by nuclear weapons would still have been affected by the political instability, the massive influx of refugees, and the long-term effects of nuclear fallout and a nuclear winter. On a societal level, the trust in government and the concept of a secure world order could have been fundamentally undermined. The psychological trauma of such a war and the fear of a repeated event might have created a pervasive culture of fear and suspicion. Envisioning a world where the Cuban Missile Crisis escalated underscores the profound dangers of nuclear weapons and the importance of diplomacy and de-escalation in international relations. Number 11. How different would life be if we lived in Tolkien's Middle-earth? J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth, the setting for The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, is a richly imagined world populated by diverse beings and cultures. But what if we lived in Middle-earth? In Middle-earth, daily life, society, and politics would be vastly different, influenced by the existence and interactions of different races, including elves, dwarves, hobbits, and various types of men. Not being the sole sentient race could have profound implications for human identity, societal norms, and power structures. The world of Middle-earth is imbued with magic, from Gandalf's wizardry to enchanted rings and swords. Such a world would necessitate a different understanding of physics and natural laws. Furthermore, it would introduce a dimension of unpredictability into daily life, as magical forces could significantly influence events. Moreover, the constant threat of dark forces like Sauron and his minions would create a society where martial skills and readiness for war are highly valued. This could lead to a more militaristic culture and a perpetual undercurrent of tension. Living in Middle-earth, humanity's relationship with nature would likely be more respectful and symbiotic, as seen in the cultures of the elves and hobbits. The rampant industrialization and exploitation of the environment, which characterize our world, might be less prevalent. Imagining life in Middle-earth introduces a fascinating exploration of how the presence of diverse sentient races, magic, and ever-present threats could shape society, culture, and our relationship with the natural world. Number 12. The consequences of Superman being real. Superman, the Man of Steel, is an iconic superhero known for his immense power and moral integrity. But what if Superman were real and lived among us? The presence of a being with Superman's abilities would undoubtedly have profound implications. For one, conventional military forces would be largely irrelevant against such power. This could either lead to a world with decreased military conflict or, conversely, spur an arms race to develop technologies capable of countering Superman. On a societal level, the existence of an invincible and morally upright individual could lead to an over-reliance on Superman to solve world problems. This could potentially undermine the development and responsibility of governmental and societal institutions. Alternatively, it could cause fear and suspicion, given the potential for misuse of such power. Additionally, Superman's alien origin would definitively answer the question of extraterrestrial life, possibly impacting our philosophies, religions, and self-perception as a species. It might also stimulate advancements in space exploration in hopes of discovering more about Superman's Kryptonian origins. Examining a world where Superman is real allows us to ponder on the profound effects that such an extraordinary being would have on our military balance, societal responsibility, and understanding of our place in the universe. Number 13. How would our world look if we lived in George Orwell's 1984? George Orwell's 1984 depicts a dystopian future under a totalitarian regime that exercises absolute control over every aspect of life. But what if we lived in such a world? In the world of 1984, individual freedoms are non-existent. Every action, word, and thought is monitored by the omnipresent Big Brother, leading to a society dominated by fear and conformity. Privacy, a fundamental aspect of our lives, would be a foreign concept. Truth and information are manipulated by the state in 1984, leading to a society where objective reality is obscured. This would stifle intellectual growth, creativity, and progress, leading to a stagnant society trapped in a state of perpetual fear and misinformation. Furthermore, the constant state of war in 1984 serves to control the populace and justify the regime's authoritarian measures. Living in such a world would mean a life under continual uncertainty and tension, with peace and security being elusive. Exploring a world through the lens of Orwell's 1984 offers a stark warning of the perils of absolute power, the importance of individual liberties, and the crucial role of truth and information in society. Number 14. Harry Potter's magic in our everyday life. The Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling has captivated millions with its world of magic and enchantment. But what if the magic from Harry Potter were real and integrated into our everyday life? The accessibility of magic would transform our day-to-day tasks. Mundane chores could be accomplished with a flick of a wand or a simple spell. This could drastically increase productivity and free up time for more fulfilling activities. However, the integration of magic into society would necessitate substantial changes in our legal and ethical frameworks. The misuse of magic, such as memory-altering spells or illegal potions, would pose significant ethical concerns. Laws and regulations would need to evolve to manage and control the use of magic to prevent harm and maintain societal order. Moreover, magic could revolutionize fields such as medicine, transportation, and communication. Healing spells could potentially eradicate diseases, while Apparition and Flu Network could make instantaneous travel a reality. Owlpost and Patronus messaging would make communication more interesting and fun. Magic could also impact social dynamics. The dichotomy between magical and non-magical people, as seen in the Harry Potter world, could create societal divisions and power imbalances, leading to potential conflicts or discrimination. By imagining a world with Harry Potter's magic, we get to explore the exciting yet complex implications of a reality where the extraordinary is ordinary, offering insights into the potential benefits and challenges magic could pose to our society. Number 15. Reality as we know it if we lived in the Star Wars galaxy. The Star Wars universe, with its advanced technology, diverse species, and vast galactic civilization, offers a captivating vision of life in a galaxy far, far away. But what if we lived in the Star Wars galaxy? Living in the Star Wars galaxy would introduce us to a plethora of sentient species and cultures. This would impact our societal structures, belief systems, and norms, as our civilization would be but one among many. Our technological landscape would also be dramatically different. With hyperspace travel, we would have the ability to traverse great distances in space in a short time, expanding our horizons beyond our own planet or solar system. Advanced robotics and artificial intelligence, as seen in droids, would likely play an integral role in society, affecting everything from labor markets to companionship. The presence of the Force, a metaphysical power that can be harnessed by certain individuals, would add a mystical element to this science fiction world. It might affect our understanding of physics, spirituality, and personal potential. However, the Star Wars galaxy is also a place of conflict, dominated by the struggle between the Sith and the Jedi, the Empire and the Rebellion. Living in such a galaxy might mean living in a state of perpetual war and unrest. Envisioning life in the Star Wars galaxy allows us to ponder how the coexistence with different species, advanced technologies, and the metaphysical force might influence our societal structures, technological advancements, and the very fabric of our existence.